Good morning, good afternoon, good night, good whatever time of day it is for you. How you doing? I got something that for me always feels like it's a struggle that I want to get into with you today. I want to talk about discipline. And where it's going to start out, it's going to seem like, where the heck are you going with this? I promise you, I have a purpose for it. So, real quick, if this helps you, send it to somebody. I only do this to try to take things that I've learned or that have helped me and pass along. That's it. So, hopefully it helps. If it does, send it on to somebody. So, something that was really eye-opening to me. I did this thing where I wanted to try to read the Bible in 60 days. Well, I say try, I did. Anyways, and when I did that, like, there's a lot of weird things that I caught that I'd never caught before. You ever just got into scripture and like you read something, you're like, wow, that's like you've read it 1,000 times, for some reason it stands out to you this time. Well, this one particular thing stood out to me. So did you know in countries that have like good, clean sanitization, like America, like what we get to experience all day, every day, we just take advantage of. Anyways, like, you got good plumbing, all that stuff, right? And then you have countries that don't. Do you know the difference in how long those people live in those countries? If you're in a country that has good sanitization, like America, you live to be on average 80 years. And you're probably thinking, I thought America is only 74. We actually kind of drive that 80-year average down. It would be a little bit higher. But anyways, okay, 80 years, okay, average. Good sanitization, 80 years. Not good sanitization, 60 years. So do you mean just by being cleaner, there is a 20-year difference in how long you live? Yes, there's nothing in the medical world or medical field, if you're a medical type person, sorry, these are just facts, that beats plumbing and sanitization. Like, your plumbers and your sanitization people have done more for your longevity than any doctor ever has or will. Kind of crazy, right? So, what's the thing that hit me when I was going through the Word one day? So, you ever go through the Old Testament stuff, especially like, when you get into some of like all the rules and the laws things, right? Check this rule and law out and tell me if it doesn't line up with what I just told you. So, if you go to Deuteronomy, that's just a tough one to say, but Deuteronomy 23:13. Just kind of going through the designs, what you should have. This is God talking about, hey, with the way your village should be set up, the way things should look, right? So, 23:13. As part of your equipment, talking about outside in your camp, have something to dig with. You may already see where I'm going with this. And when you relieve yourself, dig a hole and cover your excrement. Now, here's how this all comes and ties into the discipline thing. That's a discipline that I'm guarantee you, when we first heard that was no different than all the other things. Like all the other sacrifices, like thank goodness we're in the new covenant, right? And there's so many of these things that Jesus beat for us. But anyways, talking about this specific thing right here. Here's what I want you to understand and realize. God created us, meaning He knows how this engine and body operates. If you have a car and you never change the engine oil on it, it ain't gonna last too long, right? But I'm sure changing that oil is not fun. Well, it's definitely not fun. It's messy, and then you gotta figure out what to dispose of, or you gotta pay somebody. Anyways, nonetheless, here He is telling us, if you dig a hole, and if you've ever been out in the woods in any kind of scenario, like that's not what you want, like you just want to run away from. Anyways, God's telling you there's a 20-year difference in how long you will live if you do this thing, right? So, how many things in our lives or in your life is that same way? If you want to be healthy, what does that mean? You're definitely going to have to say no to certain foods. At least a majority of the time. I mean, you can have that cinnamon roll every now. I mean, that cinnamon roll. So that sounds so good right now. So I'll tell you what, I actually have a buddy who is a bodybuilder, and his last set of competitions, he dominated, like he got all the trophies and all the things, right? Yes, he's shredded, right? And jacked. Yeah, he looks better than me. That you don't have to say it. Anyways, so he's getting ready and he's going into competition again right now. And him and I were serving together, and I looked over, and I don't know if you know, like, this is something that's super, like, that I just, like, I really, really, really respect, and bodybuilding definitely would never do it. I mean, look at me. But to get down to the percentages, you want to talk about, like, friggin' discipline. Think about how hard it is. So, like, these old boys got to measure, like, the grams of everything. Like, oh, that seasoning stuff that makes that thing taste good? Yeah, can't have that. That'll do a bloated thing. Scientific, I don't know. But anyway, so he's in the middle of doing this. He's a couple weeks out from his competition. And I look over him and I can just see, like, he is in agony, like, oh my goodness. So if you were to ask him right now in this moment, in this time, yeah, probably sucks a little bit. He's on a major deficit of calories, doing all this cardio, all these things to get down to this certain point. But when he steps on stage and wins again like he's done the previous 2 times, guarantee you that discipline feels worth it at that point in time. Discipline of anything, I can promise you, almost never feels good when you have to take the discipline to do it. And the word discipline is going to come out in the word of obedience, right? So if you look at the most obedient man in all the Bible, the man that accomplished the most in the Bible, it was Jesus. It talks about continually, he died to himself daily. In Luke 22:38, it says, as he went off to pray, as he often did. And this is as he's going to the Mount of Olives, he gets arrested right after this moment, right? But it talks about as he often did. In other words, yeah, that's Jesus just gonna go do that pray thing that he does. It, like, he had the most intense moment in all of any man will ever go through, and he just went to do the thing that he always did. How many times have you not gone in or not prayed that day or not read your book that day or not? How many times have you not done the thing you did for that day? And I'm sure there's reason. I had to wake up early, or, the kids were doing this, or I wasn't feeling good, or, work was this. I'm sure that's happened. I'm not saying that it doesn't. It absolutely does. But I would bet anything in your life that you consider hard, because, shocker, it ain't an easy thing to do sometimes. If there's something in your life that is a struggle, or is hard, or you just can't feel good about, I guarantee you there's an area specifically related to that where you have very, very, very bad discipline. Or at least not great discipline. Maybe it's not very bad. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe you just don't have good discipline in that area. So, and what I want you to be cautious of is whenever someone does have great discipline and you're seeing the end result, it never looks it looks like luck or circumstance. So you need to be cautious of that. If you ever go look at an old bodybuilder, like, I'm telling you right now, that takes massive discipline. Why every guy wants the 6-pack abs and all those things? Because you can't get that without some hard work. Sure, even if you're someone who's naturally gifted in certain areas, it's still going to take work. So if you're having a hard time at your job right now and you're like, oh, such and such, makes more sales or makes more money, or such and such has a better schedule, or like, what's something that they do that you don't do? Right? Maybe you're sitting there, I always have this pain here, or maybe there's an exercise or something you should be doing that isn't just sitting down. So another little country thing, this I actually learned from my brother. He told me, do you know in like third world countries, like where they don't have big comfy chairs to sit in every day and all that stuff, like, do you know like our type of back problems and neck problems don't exist there? Like these people like sleep on floors and stuff, and there's certain kind of body aches that we have that they don't. That's what comfort does. So I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm going to caution you right now, I don't care what area of life it is, if you seek comfort, it is not going to result for a good outcome. Like, I'm sure there was no comfort back in the day when God told us to dig a hole to poop in, that seemed like an easy, but doing it made you live 20 years longer. So think about it that way. This guy died at 60. He was too lazy to cover his poop, huh? Like, maybe that's what the conversation was like. So, what thing are you dying too early because you're too lazy or not dedicated enough to do? If you're like, I have a comprehension problem, are you picking up books and trying to read? If you're like, I have a real weak, shoulder, are you doing exercises to get over it? If you're like, my job requires this freaking part, like, oh man, I gotta do this stuff on the computer and I absolutely hate computers. Are you doing anything to get better at computers? Like, are you trying to type on the thing more? Like, what is the thing you continually keep avoiding because of fill in the blank excuse here? And it doesn't have to be big. Don't think of it as, okay, I have to go do this more. That, like, you ain't got to go David Goggins with it. Like, I mean, if you can, okay. But, like, maybe you just start with doing a little bit more than you previously did, right? If there's something you've been avoiding because you've been hammering out, your series on Netflix, maybe rather than watching all 8 episodes at once, maybe split those episodes up over a couple days, or dare I say weeks, right? So what's the thing that you naturally always take the comfort route versus the discipline route? And you need to think down the road. When you're digging that hole, understand by digging that hole, you live another 20 years. If you have something that feels hard or always feels like a burden, or always, like, maybe you're always having money troubles. I bet if you're having money troubles, there's probably a spend of some kind that you refuse to cut, right? Like, how many subscriptions do you have? Or maybe rather than going out and getting that coffee, you can just buy a cheap can of Folgers and make it every day for like 1,000th of the price. If there's something you're struggling in, I know in the moment it's easier to keep doing what you're doing, but take that disciplined route and watch it get easier. Digging that hole, it ain't fun, but you will live longer. So, catch you on the next one.